What is up, guys? Today I've got a really interesting video idea. I thought that I would vlog my actual work and that this might be interesting to anyone who's learning Shopify development, but also store owners if you're trying to implement this feature on your store. And that is making a easy wholesale store without the use of an app. What is a wholesale store? We're going to be hiding the price. We're going to be hiding the add to cart buttons so that people, just random general public, they won't be able to go on this site and find out the wholesale prices or buy anything. In order to do that, they're going to have to click a button that says request wholesale access. That button takes them to a form. They fill out that form, just a bit of details about themselves. And then based on that form, the store owner will receive that form and they'll be like, okay, let's make a wholesale account for this person. And then once that person has a wholesale account, and that account is just going to be the normal Shopify customer account, right? Once they have that account, if they log into that account, they will be able to see prices and the add to cart button. And it'll be exactly like a normal Shopify store for them when they are logged into their account. So that's the simple Shopify setup. It's not like bulletproof. It's not the most professional wholesale setup. Like, you'll definitely have more features when you use wholesale apps. Like, I believe one is called Locksmith, and yeah, there are a few wholesale apps. But in my experience working with quite a few wholesale stores on Shopify, they don't need all that stuff. All they want is for the price to be hidden and for the add to cart button to be hidden. Obviously for the price to be hidden on the collection pages as well, on the home page and everywhere where the price would appear across the store. And that's like pretty easy to do. You don't need a whole lot of features just for that kind of simple wholesale functionality. So I'm not going to record like my entire working process because this will be like several hours long video then, but I'm just going to show you the interesting little snippets, what problem I encountered, and then how I solved that problem. I might make further videos on how to do specific things. That's it for now. Let's get to work. So here's the current situation. This is my starting point. The brand that I'm working on is called Vigliano.com. They sell vegan Italian food, and they want to make a Vigliano Wholesale.com, a separate website, but it's got to look exactly the same and have exactly the same products. They currently have another site called pureitaly.com, and they're basically killing this. They don't want Pure Italy, the brand, to exist anymore. This is going to be replaced with Vigliano.wholesale.com. So the first step for me is to create a duplicate of this Vigliano.com, this theme, and set that up on Pure Italy. So what I've done is simply exported the theme and I've uploaded that to the second store, the wholesale store. And that's the starting point. That's what we're going to be working with now. So the first thing is the visual stuff. And this is really easy. I'm just going to go through the theme editor and I'm going to try and link everything up. Like, the fact that I exported the settings from that previous store does not mean that the images were carried across. Okay, so at this point I got sick of manually saving the images from the old site and moving them across to the new one. So I found a Chrome extension that bulk downloads all the images from the old site, and then I was able to very easily have them all in a folder and quickly drag them in and upload them to the new site. Okay, so one thing I've noticed is that we don't have the same exact product handles, and also we don't have the same exact collections or collection names as in the retail store. So that's one thing that I'm going to fix now. I'm going to be creating the exact same collections, because I expect that, whenever you have a retail store and a wholesale store, you will probably be making design changes on the retail store first, and then exporting that theme, importing it into the wholesale store so that those same changes can be updated to the wholesale store. And you don't want to be going through and manually fixing the collection titles, relinking products because the product has a different handle. So basically, products and collections should have exactly the same titles, exactly the same handles across both stores. Okay, so check this out. I'm at the stage where I need to copy across the navigation, but the navigation on Vigliano, on the main retail site, is quite complex. Under each one of these, it's got a huge number of options, right? And this would take a lot of time for me to duplicate. Here's what the navigation looks like on the back end. You've got cheese, then you've got all these sub collections, and then inside of each sub collection you've got a list of actual products. And this is one of the big weaknesses of Shopify, in my opinion, is that you can't duplicate the menu. You can't duplicate menus. You can't export this with a CSV. You actually have to just do it manually. Well, actually, I found a Chrome extension somewhere on the Shopify forums called Shopify Navigation Tool. It's a $10 one-time purchase. And apparently what it does is that it allows you to export your navigation. So I'm going to try this and I'm going to let you know how it goes. Okay, so I've just purchased the app and they've emailed me a license key and a login that I'm going to paste in. I'm going to log in. Okay, and let's export. Main menu. All right, I'll just save this to my desktop. It's a JSON file. Okay, we need to be on this page. On the main navigation page, we're going to go import. We're going to choose the file, importing that JSON file. Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing. That's so good. It actually worked. Look at this. That's exactly all of the menu items that I didn't want to manually recreate. So it works. Well done, creator of Shopify Navigation Tool. Yeah, you guys, it's a bit dodgy at first. You have to pay for the app first before you can even try it, but it works. merakiapps.com. So I'm gonna save this as main menu Vigliano. I'll save, and the one weakness of this Chrome extension, I guess, is that whenever there's a dynamic link, it replaces it with hash. So even though it's created this entire navigation menu for me, I still have to go through and actually link all of the collections manually. That's better than having to actually create all of these menu items as well. Okay, so at this point, I've mostly set up the theme. I'm quite happy with the visuals. I've set up the navigation using that tool that I showed you earlier. The homepage is mostly set up and it looks quite similar to the retail store. At this stage, I would now start working on the code of this theme. And the first thing that I want to do is hide all the prices. That would be so on the collection page, as you just saw, and then obviously on the product page as well. And because prices are hidden, we also don't need the quantity selector. And obviously I also want to hide the add to cart and buy it now buttons, because we want to prevent people from buying the product unless they are logged in. So right now I'm going to connect theme kit. I'm not really using Shopify CLI because I don't need it for this kind of project. This is too simple. I'm going to connect theme kit so that I can work on the code on my computer using VS Code, and I'll show you when I've done that. Okay, so I'm not going to show you my theme kit setup because there is private information there that could allow you to hack the site, but I will show you what I'm doing with Git. I'm tracking changes, obviously. I've made a new branch called Vigliano theme. I've deleted all the files from it, from the old theme files, because I don't need them on this branch. And now I'm going to download the theme that I'm going to be working on. So in my theme kit config YAML, I've set up the development environment as that theme because currently the old theme is still live. Okay, so I've downloaded that theme and now I'm just going to set up a theme watch so that it watches for changes that I make, and I'm ready to start work. There we go. It's watching for file changes, and now every time I save, it's going to upload those changes. Generally, that's how I work. Okay, so I just want to show you how I would find the price in the actual theme files. I'm only going to show you this once because if you're a developer, this is probably too easy for you. If you're a store owner, then you're probably not working in Visual Studio Code. But anyway, what I would do here is I would inspect this element, and basically I'm looking for these classes. And then I would use the search, right? You can see I already did that. But in Visual Studio Code, I would do a project-wide search. So not searching a single file, but searching all the files for a particular phrase like price or like underscore price, because that was in the class name. And then I would guess that what I'm looking for is inside product form.liquid. out of all these files that it's showing me with the price, I'm probably looking for product form not liquid because I'm looking for the price on the product page, right? And we find it here. That's that exact div that I just showed you here. And what we want to do is simply wrap this in an if statement that says if customer, right? Meaning if the customer is logged in and not the general public, then they will be able to see this. But if not, then this wouldn't be output to the page at all. So I'm just going to go here, add an if tag, and it's going to be if customer. Put this end if, fix up the indentation a bit, like so. So that's saying if they're logged in, they will be able to see the price. That's maybe not enough for us. I think what we want to do is tag customers that we've approved as wholesale buyers, right? And you can do that in Shopify. Whenever you look at a customer account, you have this tags area, and you can simply, the store owner would be manually tagging people with approved wholesale accounts. And so we can do this as well. If customer and customer.tags contains wholesale, and I believe that's going to work. Now I'm going to test this. So I'm going to remove this wholesale tag from my account, log into my account, see if I can see the price or not, and then I'm going to add the wholesale tag back in and see if I can see the price. Just basic testing to see if this works. And then I'm going to take this same if statement basically, and I'm going to also wrap the quantity fields and also wrap the add to cart and buy it now buttons, and also do the same thing on the collection pages as well, so that all those things will be hidden under those same conditions. And as you can see, this is really simple beginner level stuff. No complicated liquid coding is required at all for this kind of wholesale setup. At this point, we have a Shopify store without any prices visible on it and without add to cart buttons or the quantity field. So the final thing that I want to hide now is the create account link here. We don't want people accessing the create account page and making their own account, even though they still won't be able to see things because they won't have the wholesale tag on their account. It would just be cleaner if people can't create their own account. If accounts were invite only, so the store owner would send out invites for people to create their accounts after they filled out a contact form. So we're going to do that. We're going to remove this button, or rather we're going to change the text and change the link to go to a contact form. And on this login page, we're just going to remove this create account button. I'm just going to create a page called request a wholesale account. I'll leave this blank for now, but I'm going to apply the contact form template. We're going to be creating a different contact form. So we're going to be duplicating the contact form template, but for now that's fine. And the URL is going to be /pages/request account. So this is what the page is going to look like, kind of, except we're going to make the form different. It's going to have a few more questions for people. And as you can see, this is a link pages/request account. And I've changed the text and the link on this link in the top right to go to this page. So on the login page, we no longer have a create account button. I've simply removed that. And here we have request account, sends you to a contact form. Now what I also want to do is to have a button here, like instead of the add to cart button, and it should also say request a wholesale account, and it would send people to this page. But actually, I think that first I'm going to create the new contact form for this page that I was talking about, because that's pretty straightforward to do. We're going to be duplicating this contact page template. And this is a Shopify 1.0 theme. It's an older Shopify theme. So we can't create templates through the theme editor. Instead, what we do is we find page.contact.liquid, and we're going to simply copy all of this. And then we're going to go to our templates folder and create a new file, and it's going to be page.request wholesale account.liquid. Okay. And I'm going to paste in everything from the contact page. And what we're going to look for is this form here, basically. These are all of the questions that we have. We have the name, email, phone, and the message field. and then a submit button. All right, so at this point, I was going to show you how I edit this contact form and then how I apply this new template to this page that I created. But then I remembered that you can't actually apply a template unless it's part of the published theme. And since right now we're working on the unpublished theme, I cannot apply this template and I can't show you the result of changing these fields. And actually, for me even, it's not easy to work on this when I can't actually see what I'm doing on the front end. So I guess that I'm going to be continuing this part a little bit later. And for now, I'll just add that request a wholesale account button that I was talking about here, and then making the actual form. That will have to be one of the last things that I do, because we're going to have to publish the entire new theme before I actually am able to work on this template. Now, as for this button, here's what I've done so far. I have basically copied the code from the add to cart button. Well, I deleted most of the code, but I left a couple of classes that made it look the same way, and I've made this button a link to go to the request wholesale account form page. And also this is wrapped inside of an if statement, or rather an unless statement. And it looks like this. So unless they're a customer with the tag of wholesale, then they will see this button. So meaning general public sees this button. But if you're logged in as a customer with the tag wholesale, then you will not see this button. Instead, you will see the add to cart buttons, the price, the quantity selector, and everything that we hid earlier. Whenever you're building a wholesale website, it's quite important that customers on this site understand that they are on the wholesale website. I see a lot of people, a lot of store owners that want to make it look exactly the same as their main site, which is okay. Like, you want to have the same branding, but you should still make it clear. There should not be any confusion for customers, whether they are on the retail site or on the wholesale site, because suddenly they're, if they don't realize that they're on the wholesale site, they're going to be like, what happened? How do I buy products? People can accidentally come to the wholesale site for some reason and get stuck here and not know how to go back. So we have to make that clear. Firstly, it would be great if you can do a variation of your logo. So in this case, I suggested that they do something like Vigliano Wholesale in small text underneath. Some companies also do like a slightly different color scheme for their logo for the wholesale store. Next, what you also want to do is you want to make it easy to go back to the retail store, back to the main store. So what I've done here is I've changed the text in the promo banner to say, welcome to Vigliano Wholesale. Click here to go back to vigliano.com. This will be visible from each page, so that people can always go back to the retail store if for some reason they get lost here. And then the next thing that I just did is added a second button, also in the same style as the add to cart and buy it now buttons, but this one says back to vigliano.com. Now currently clicking this is just going to take them to the home page of vigliano.com, but if you wanted to, you could get pretty smart with it and you could make this link back to this exact product. And the way to do that would be only if you have the exact same product handle. Okay, if your product handles are different, if your naming is slightly different and not very organized, then this is not going to work. But if your product handle is exactly the same, then we could make this link just go to vigliano.com/ and then you would use liquid code here and you would write product.url. And in that way, you would go to vigliano.com/ product/Mazziotto pistachio, right? So we could get smart with it. We could also, if for some reason the store owners can't name their products the same way with the same handle, then the links could be coming from a meta field as well. You could completely replace this URL with a URL that you add to a meta field on every product, and that way you would have a lot of control over which product you're directing to. But I think that's kind of overkill, and I think we don't really need that for this specific website, but that's something you could do. Okay guys, so I've finally been able to publish this theme, and that means that I can now work on this contact form. Just to give you a quick recap, I created a page called Request a Wholesale Account. And at first I applied the contact form to it, and it had the standard contact form in Shopify. But then I took the contact form code from page.contact.liquid, copied it all, created a new template file called page.requestwholesaleaccount.liquid, and pasted all of that contact form code into here. But I wasn't able to apply that template because it wasn't part of the published theme. But now that I published the theme, I can apply that template. And then it was very simple to just add a few fields to that code. So we have company name, the location, and the company website. That's all the information that they really need in order to approve or reject you for a wholesale account. And this is what that looks like. So here's the actual form. And what I've done is simply added a few fields by copy and pasting the name field that was already part of the form. So you simply copy, paste. You can get rid of a lot of this like overcomplicated stuff because we don't need translations and stuff. This store is only in English. So here inside the label HTML, you would put whatever you want. So in my case, it was like company name. Here you would change the for and also the ID to be, you know, the same thing, whatever you want it to be. For me, it was contact form company name. And then the most important part is this part, the name attribute with contact and then square brackets. Basically this is what you see, whatever you put here. I'm going to put company name. This is what you would see as the label in the email that you receive when somebody fills out this contact form. And so this is what that email looks like. I just tested with this one field, company name, and yeah, it all works fine. And then also this value attribute, you can just get rid of this because it's probably never going to be populated. And that's it. That's pretty much what I did for company name, and then for city, country, and then for the website. Only thing is for the website, we can change this to URL instead of text. And that's all. Now that we save that, you will have extra fields on your form, and it's only on this template, the request wholesale account template. Your contact form template is still intact. We haven't touched the original contact form, and so you can still have a regular contact page as well. So guys, that's it. That's all I'm going to show you for this particular project, I think. Obviously, they are probably going to come back to me with some minor adjustments. There might be some design changes, but you get the idea in general. I'm going to just run through this website as a small recap. First of all, what I did was just duplicate the theme and make everything look as close to the retail store as possible. Then what I did was hide the prices everywhere. So we've hidden prices on the collection page, and then on the product page, we hid the prices and the add to cart and buy now buttons. And we've replaced them with different buttons. This one says request wholesale account, and it takes you to the request wholesale account form. And we've added a few fields to the regular contact form in Shopify to create this form. We also have a button that says back to vigliano.com, just in case people accidentally ended up on the wholesale site, or they just realize that they want to check something back on the main site. We also have this promo banner that we're using to actually inform people that, hey, you're on the wholesale site, just so that, again, so that they don't get lost. And then here we have the login button at the top right, and you can log in if you have an account. But if you don't have an account, there is no longer a create account button. There is a request account button, which takes you to this form. So we're not letting people get to the account creation form, which comes standard with Shopify. And that's pretty much all there is to it. It wasn't a complicated project. It did not take many hours. I hope you also liked this format of video where I was just kind of vlogging my actual project. Let me know if you enjoyed it. If you found value in it, then that's awesome. And I'll definitely like to do this again because it made my work more interesting. But I think that's all for now. That's all I got to say. See you next time, guys.